Hey, security peeps, we are live with another edition of Breaking Into Cybersecurity. I am Renee Small, cybersecurity super recruiter, helping awesome leaders hire great talent. And we have the crew here today. Were you here in time for our intro video, Naomi?
I saw the last few seconds. It's lovely.
Awesome. Okay, so before we do the intros, everybody, please subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Please subscribe. Make sure you click the button so you can get the updates, the bell, all that good stuff for when we go live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Okie dokie. Chris Foulon.
And if you're listening to us on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and share with everyone else. I'm Chris, I'm co-host on this, career coach, cybersecurity consultant, and over to the amazing Naomi Buckwalter.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Naomi Buckwalter, not that amazing, but I love helping people break into cybersecurity. Today, we're going to do a little special something, right, guys, to help people break in. So I'm excited. Let's go.
That's right. So we have a special guest on today so far, Craig. Introduce yourself, Craig.
Yes, hi, I'm Craig Schoenberger. Yeah, you guys got the direction right. So I'm here looking for some insight on my resume, and I'm excited to hear what you guys have.
Excellent. So I am going to pull your resume up. So today for everyone, our topic is going to be two things: Ask Me Anything and resume reviews. We have been getting requests to do resumes. We have we're all going to be participating in a career fair next week. Paul Cummings Career Fair, he'll jump on. He's going to be our guest next week. So we're definitely want to help people get their resumes buttoned up so you can put your best foot forward when hopefully you're attending Paul's Career Fair and others as well. So, okay, StreamYard link in the comments. Well, yeah, I guess.
We can just get people
Not
in
yet.
here. Not yet?
What
Yeah.
do you think?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So Craig, let's pull your resume up. While we're pulling up Craig's resume, if anyone has additional Ask Me Anything questions about resumes, if you want to come on here, we're going to put the link and then you can just jump on and we'll pull you and your resume up as well. So
Let's say, Craig, start with giving us, while Renee pulls up your resume, start by giving us a high-level overview of yourself and what you're looking to achieve so that as we go through your resume, we can help address what you're looking to achieve in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I started out in chemical engineering, loved the technical side, but then I hit OChem and that went downhill. So I made a kind of a late in the game switch over to cybersecurity. I currently have an entry-level job, kind of doing a variety of things, but what I really enjoy is application security.
And what aspect of application security are you looking to progress into, it sounds like?
I really enjoy remediation scanning, as well as working with the software development lifecycle with the agile process and trying to implement cybersecurity throughout the software development lifecycle versus at the end or at the beginning.
Okay, perfect. Renee, you have it up?
I'm here just making sure that I'm sharing the right thing and trying to make sure that I don't put Craig's information all the way out there. So bear with me a second while I.
Craig, as you go into your next role, have you figured out which aspect of application security outside of remediation that you want to focus on? Is it AppSec, infrastructure, cloud security, on-premise, mobile devices? So many different aspects.
Yeah, there are, and I don't know if I have the firm preference yet at this point in my career.
Which ones have you been exploring so far?
Just AppSec in general with remediation. currently actually looking a little bit into cloud security as well.
Okay. And with regards to cloud security, do you have a preference as to a cloud provider that you feel you have the most experience in?
Yeah, I only have AWS experience with coursework, but professional experience with Azure.
Okay. And which aspects of cloud security have you been working on? Lift and shifts, digital transformations, microservices?
Well, key management with Vault, as well as container security, so scanning containers.
Okay, okay.
All
Do you have
right.
any development background? That usually helps when doing application security for sure.
Yeah, actually, as an engineer, I worked as a developer intern in industrial automation. So not a lot of application, like mobile application development, but I do understand, coding.
Okay, well, the more coding experience you can have, the better. That's how I pivoted, and a lot of people pivot that way. But from development, you can get into application security, which is what you're interested in, do penetration testing. So it all flows very nicely. And then what you can do even is start training the developers. After you break into security, you can just say, hey, I have some amazing tips and tricks for you developers. Here's how you can build your applications more securely. And then you give them all the things that they might need. Like, here are the libraries that we recommend for hashing and doing all these different things, or single sign-on, right? Like, you want to give them the information that they can use to build more secure products. And that's what we like to see for application security engineers. In general terms, though, if you want to do penetration testing, that you don't really need coding, but it helps to be able to break it and then also tell the developers how to fix it.
Right.
So keep learning. Any kind of the modern tech stack, you're going to be looking into any of the 3-tier architectures. So take any web front end, the popular ones, or any JavaScript frameworks. You got React.js is a big one. Vue.js is a big one. Mid-tier, you've got Ruby on Rails, C#.NET. Any .NET basically is still around. Java is still big for mid-tier. And then your back end, you've got your regular SQL, object-oriented databases. In any of the cloud databases, really, cloud database services you want to take a look at. So kind of focus on those 3 and practice.
Thank you.
Greg, can you share your own screen for your resume?
Yeah, I'm having problems. I just dropped his resume over to you both, I believe. And no.
If not, Craig, with regards to the things that you're doing for your job hunt, how are you approaching it right now?
Yeah, I've not been taking a very aggressive approach on the job hunt. It's because it is a little bit. Am I sharing my screen, by the way?
Not yet. Not that I see.
I don't see it yet either. Oh, wait. Yep. Add the stream.
Here it is.
Okay. Hold on. Let me figure out how to do this.
Oh,
There
perfect.
we go. Excellent.
Do you need me to zoom in?
Yes.
So first and foremost, I might not put your salary straight out like that. Or wait.
No, that's just saving.
That's
career achievements.
yeah.
I know. I just saw that too. I'm like, wait, he's looking for
Like,
80,000.
whoa.
That's kind of baller. Also kind of low, but I like it. That's what I'm telling people, to put your metrics in there, like say how much you saved, what percentage increase, decrease, whatever. And it makes you look better than just listing responsibilities. That's what like 90% of the people do out there. They just list their responsibilities. That doesn't tell us how well you do your job.
Yeah.
And you want to tell people how good you are.
I would include that in the specific role, so you have more context for it. For me, like looking at your resume, like I want to be able to deduce what position you're going for by looking at your resume. And like your career achievements would be geared towards the next role that you want. So you highlight why you're a value add to that team. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the shifting left is great. The spotlight award, maybe more context as to what the Spotlight Award was given for. What did you do to achieve that Spotlight Award and how it helped the organization? That could be helpful as well. And then scroll down through the experiences. So why the extra line between the roles? Just asking.
Yeah, so I felt like it was my thought process was to have a highlighted experience section that would closely match the role I'm looking for.
So you're looking towards being a PM?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because earlier I thought you were looking towards more specific application security testing type roles versus an application security PM.
Yeah, and that's probably what my resume needs is some more specific direction.
Renee, comments from you?
Yeah, sure. So I would say, everything that Chris said, but if you are going after the role, which role are you going? You're going after application security right now, right?
Yes.
As a project manager, though, so it's important
As
to
a
highlight that.
PM.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So that works. If you have any app security project management experience at all, highlight that in the resume, even if you're doing it as a volunteer. Can you scroll down a little bit, please? Highlighted experience. And scroll down some more. Okay. Scroll back up.
I might even put the skills up top. Not for the PM.
You mean that skill section
Yeah.
down there? No,
Yeah.
he has that in the right spot.
Okay.
Because, when you think about it from a hiring manager's perspective or recruiter's perspective, they're always trying to, and Naomi will correct me if I'm wrong, to match like the role to the person. So if you're applying for this particular job and you say, okay, if the role is an app security manager and you have app security manager kind of like right up at the top, or AppSec or something going on is right there and in their face, that's where you want to put it. The reason why I usually recommend skills at the bottom is because anyone can throw those skills up on there, and it doesn't really, just a list of skills isn't telling the manager anything. It's not telling a hiring manager, and it's not telling the recruiter anything about these skills. So you could have learned Python 3 years ago and never did it again, but it happens to be hanging out in that skills section. And so, then it's there. So we usually just kind of skip over that. I typically do skip over that generic kind of just hodgepodge of skills anyway. So that's why I like the experience up top, your impact up top, everything that you put up top, saving the company $80,000, which I think is fantastic. So anything else that you have that you can align to the app security manager role that you want to do is helpful. And a real quick tip for getting verbiage to put in there is to just check out app security job descriptions. And you can look at what you have done. I tell people this all the time, do not lie, but if you have done it and you see it in 2 or 3 or 4 job descriptions, that's something that's clearly important. And, make sure that that's highlighted in your resume. Another thing you can do is bold things. So just like how you bolded the 80,000 and it kind of like, we all immediately pounced on that 80,000 annually in the Spotlight Award, you can, I would take that same, immediately our eyes are going to go to those areas. So bold out some of your accomplishments within the highlighted experience section too.
Craig, I'm sorry, I might have missed this. Did you say you wanted to be a people manager or a project program manager?
I think my end goal would be more of a program manager.
Okay. So what's interesting here is sometimes there's really only people manager openings for application security manager. I just did a quick check on LinkedIn jobs and I searched application security manager. A lot of them are coming back as people managers. So, and these are all for bigger companies too. So you really want to start thinking about if you really want to stick with application security or just be a generalist and be a security project manager in general and not really focus on one particular domain that is application security and be more flexible. That way you're going to have more options. Also, it'll be more flexible in the size companies that you're looking for because not a lot of small companies are going to hire someone particularly to do project management for security. That's usually not really a thing. They're going to hire a project manager and then maybe have security projects in terms of like their overall bucket of things that they're going to do. But security project manager is pretty rare, although we do need more of them. Like I'm saying it's rare, but not in a good way. But if you want to target bigger companies, you can absolutely go more domain specific and do just application security. But for sure, do some A/B testing with your resume. Try to focus sometimes on the one domain that you really focused on, application security, or you can try the B test, which is more generic, open up to more flexibility things. If you want to just do project management in general for security projects, that's lovely. Like we certainly need that. So try some tests out there. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, the other thing I would say about the line that caught me between the highlighted experience is if this is the resume that you submit through an ATS, sometimes that line might cut off how it interprets what goes where, and you might find yourself re-inputting anything if you're going through the APS route. So maybe you have a here, hiring manager, let me email you my resume type approach versus, hey, applicant tracking system, here's a generic black and white copy of my resume with no fancy editing. Because you'll find that once you start including sections and columns and things like that, sometimes the ATS systems don't interpret or extract them properly.
I have run into that issue, so that's good insight.
I would double down on that, what Chris is saying, because it'll come in as like real weird sometimes, depending on the applicant tracking system. I mean, most of them nowadays, we'll just show the PDF, we'll show the picture, but occasionally if you get like an older one, then it could, your whole entire resume is completely gobbled. It's gobbledygook when it shows up. So, and that's like an automatic out.
Or they'll make you retype everything.
Yeah, which is extremely painful, but it won't even get to the thing is, it won't get to anyone. Like if a manager, if there's 100 resumes in there and his is showing up wonky, it's just like on to the next.
Yep.
So,
Finley
made a
mentions
comment here.
Yeah.
Yeah, found a typo in there for you, Finley. Thank you.
It is. Yikes.
I'm going to
sometimes that could be a deal breaker, like
yeah,
the details.
You want to double check that?
Yeah.
You see it, Craig?
I do not see it.
It's
highlighted experience.
Section header.
Yeah, in your header, highlighted experience.
It's a French way of spelling.
Oh. Yeah, I do see it now.
Thanks, Finley. Okay, so we want to a couple things, couple comments people made. Are we done with Craig's resume?
I think so. I mean, if we have more people waiting, I don't know.
I would say I really enjoy that he highlighted in bold the career achievements. I say continue on that with your experience also. Highlight some of those you want to catch the eye of the hiring manager, because honestly, we spend like 30 to 60 seconds on each one, if that. And you want to like make your case in those 60 seconds because that's all the time that we have for you. Sorry.
And give context, right? Like
yeah.
The Spotlight Award, why? Like towards the role that you're working towards.
Yeah. Great points. Those highlights are really important, and you can use a couple of them throughout the entire resume.
And do you have any links? Resume is decent. Do you have any links to your GitHub or anything, blogs?
He has it above the fold.
Okay.
So he has like, we don't want to put all his information out there, but he
that's right.
so
I
but
I do have my link to LinkedIn.
he has his LinkedIn link. So like, but to Naomi's point, the additional ones, the GitHub, the anything else that you have going on, you want to put those up there too.
And don't forget about using LinkedIn as a marketing tool as well. Often people overlook their LinkedIn profile and leave it generic, and then amazing recruiters like Renee can't find you on LinkedIn because you don't have anything.
Right. And we do keyword searches. So a couple of points that, just for general, for everyone else that's been asking about resumes, when a company says, Renee, we need your help, we want an application security project manager, the first thing I'm going to do is go on LinkedIn's kind of back end recruiter side and put in application security project manager in quotations and see what pops up. And then after, if the pop-up, the first batch of people that pop up with that job description in there, I'm going to look at their stuff first. That's step one. And then if I can't find that, then I might do AppSec. I might do a combination of AppSec and PM to see if someone either used to be a PM and now is in AppSec, or used to be an AppSec and now is in PM, so that's kind of like the way that's our mindset for, if you think about a Google search for yourself, when you're looking for something, that's the way we search when we're looking for talent. So I think it would be cool too. Naomi made a good point. If we want to look at people's LinkedIn profiles, I'm totally
Maybe part of the package today. We look at your resume and your LinkedIn profile. Two for LinkedIn. Yeah, let's do it.
I know we also have one of the listeners, Joshua Fridley, that mentioned maybe if we have him waiting, or if we have other guests waiting, we can look at someone else's resume too.
Yeah, we have Brad on.
Okay.
So Craig, hang out with us, and if we get through everyone else's, then we'll start looking at LinkedIn profiles.
Okay, thank you.
Together, though. I think together is better.
Yeah, and Craig, remember to network. That is the best way to get on someone's radar. Get someone to know who you are as a person.
Exactly. All right, awesome. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys' insight. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So I want to make some comments here, or share some comments before we jump into Brad. So Joshua's here. Joshua, we are going to send you the link so that you can jump on with us. You can jump on with us as well, if you would like to. Comment here: breaking into cybersecurity is difficult. When places are hiring, they want you to hit the ground running. The struggle is real, to be honest. We know. That's why we have this podcast. The struggle is very real.
Struggle is real. But I'm seeing kind of a tide turning. I've had like 4 people come up to me in my DMs and like, hey, you changed my mind on something. I'm going to hire somebody with no experience. I'm going to do it. I'm like, yay, I changed 4 people's minds. I know. I'm like, 4 is better than none. And so, yeah, like the more we get the word out that it is possible, and you don't need someone hit the ground running anyway. Like, think about someone that you onboard. They're going to take some time to learn your systems and your culture and all that stuff. Your lingo, right? Like, they're not going to hit the ground running on day one anyway. So you might as well take someone who is really high potential and has the history of learning successfully on their own, right? Like, you want someone like that. Trust me.
Exactly. So Zoe's here. She says, hey, YouTube gang. Hey, Zoe. Serenia's here. Let's see. It looks like LinkedIn was crashing. Zoe was saying she stopped watching on LinkedIn because it would crash on her. Josh said his LinkedIn crashed. So guys, LinkedIn's I think LinkedIn is getting like huge influxes of people doing these lives now, and they're not as robust yet as YouTube. So please, that's what we want you to subscribe and hang out on our YouTube channel and get that information. So I think this is pronounced Alam. I'm not sure. She asks, how long is too long of a resume? Some say it's okay to have 2 pages. Others want it short, sweet, and simple. What are your thoughts? I'll give you my opinion. I think that if you have under 5 years experience, you should have 1 page. And if you have more than 5 years experience, if you need to, you can make it 2 pages. But you kind of want to be concise or more. I've seen people have, if they're super executives or been in security for years and years, they've had more than 2 pages. I like to see it at 2, but I'm not completely opposed to more than 2. More so than the length, though, it's the information. So making sure your most relevant experience is at the top, highlighting kind of like what we talked to Craig about with the highlights, really, really honing in on the experience that aligns with what you've seen either leaders talk about, job descriptions say. That's what you really want to focus on, because to be honest, anything over about 10 years in technology overall, everything changes so often, and nobody's really looking back that far in terms of experience. Now, if you had all these like Fortune 100 companies, or you worked at like some amazing places kind of 10 years ago, you want to keep that on there, or more than 10 years ago, you want to keep that on there. Obviously, yes, that's important, but things change so much. So I tend to like to keep it at 2. If you're an intern, new grad, under 5 years, that's my opinion, 1 page for that. Anyone else want to talk about it?
Cybersecurity line, it depends.
What does your book say?
Yeah, it really does say depending on the experience. Thank you for highlighting that book,
Thank you for
Naomi.
the plug. Thank you for the plug. Yeah, buy our book.
Buy their book.
But no, really, it depends. Like Renee said, it's about the content, right? And I would say even if you're under 5 years, if you've done some amazing projects across 2 or 3 companies that you really want to highlight and get that detail in to show your value add, yeah, go over a page. I mean, but if you're going to just do this is what I did and not show any metrics, not show any value, then you're just fluffing it up, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I think technology managers are so accustomed to seeing longer resumes that it's not as big of a deal as if you were like, I think in marketing or somewhere else, when they're like, why can't this get into a 1-page slide or something more concise? Because we've seen the too long is 5, 6, 7 pages. That's crazy. But 3, I've seen 3 pages before. I've seen 1.5 for, like Chris's point, someone that's done some really amazing work in a shorter period of time. So, but play with margins, like Craig's resume just now. Actually, let's bring up Brad while we're talking about this. Hey, Brad. Brad's
sorry, I was on mute. How's it going?
It's all good. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I said, let's bring you up while we talk about this so that you can get your resume and stuff ready to share. But if you see in Craig's resume, he had like some white space. He had margins that were probably an inch on each side or so. You can squeeze those margins. Like you can make them. When I used to help people, when I used to actually do resumes and try to get people's resumes into 2 pages, I would totally take those margins out to as far as I possibly could before it cut the print off. So if that's a quarter or whatever the inches, whatever around the whole border, I would push that as far as possible. And then I would try not to have additional lines. Like there's a lot of things that if you just keep the content in there and not put a bunch of lines and gaps and spaces, and it may not look pretty, but the content is what's most important to the people who are doing the hiring. If we see a fancy resume, it's like, oh, okay, that's nice, but fancy resume with not the right experience still isn't going to get in there. So anyone else want to add anything?
I'll just go through the mindset of a hiring manager whenever we look for resumes. So we have an ideal person in our head, and then we take a look at your resume, and then we ask ourselves, is this person overqualified, underqualified, or is this person the right fit, right? And then after those big 3 buckets, then we dive in if you are possibly a good fit or you have potential to be a good fit. And then we look at your previous history. Does this align to something that we need in our company or in my team? So if you can show that you've done the work already, that's like a +1 for you. That's always going to be great. Is it the same type of company, the same size company, same growth stage as our company? Like all those things are a plus for you. But if at any point maybe the company that you worked for was too big and too corporate, and maybe your role was smaller than what we need your role to be at this company, right? That's not going to be a great match. So in some cases, your experience is going to be fine for some types of companies, but for other companies at different growth stages, it's not going to be a perfect match. And they're probably going to pass on you, even though you might have like the almost perfect resume. It's literally because you worked at different industries or different companies, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing at all levels. A CISO for a startup isn't going to be a CISO for a big bank.
Exactly.
Right. Someone made a comment here, probably it said, unless you want to be a CISO. And I don't know if this
That has to do with resume length.
Resume length.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's another thing. Like when I've been doing executive recruiting, if a resume is think about the leadership thinking about their leadership. So if you're a CISO and you can't get your stuff concise, you're supposed to be speaking to the board, you're supposed to be doing these presentations, you're supposed to be able to communicate effectively, written communication. You know, you don't want to have a 7-page resume either, even though you have the experience. So, okay, awesome. So Brad is ready. And then David Meese, we will check your stuff out as well. Your info, which is cool. All right. So do you know how to share your screen, Brad?
Yeah. Let me just pop it here. Oops.
So Paul makes a really good point while you're pulling your stuff up. Paul's going to be on next week talking about his veterans breaking into cybersecurity career day. So we're super excited about having Paul come on next week. So let me get to sharing this screen. So Brad, Brad has his perfectly where it is. Paul asked a good question. He wants to know if we should look at and consider functional versus chronological resumes. And so I'm going to say go chronological. Functional is nice, but it always trips people. Like 90-something% of resumes that I've seen are chronological. So I would just stick with chronological. Anytime it gets in front of the managers that I've seen, they're like, what is this? How do I know when they did what, when, at which company? So they say they're an AppSec manager, but when did they do that? It's just it's not as common to see functional. So that's my point on functional. Anybody else want to add anything?
I'm of the same point of view. I'm not as big of a fan as a functional one. It might help for like your first role, where you're kind of showing that you have the entry level skills and you don't really have experience in the field in a specific role, where that functional resume comes in handy. But after that, it just gets confusing.
I mean, I personally hate resumes the way they are, and they'll always be bad, like functional or chronological. I just don't think they're great at showcasing what you can do and your potential. I think we just need to rethink hiring in general for all industries, not just cybersecurity. But anyway.
100%.
So Brad, what sort of position are you going for so that we can evaluate your resume towards that?
Yeah. So this resume actually is what actually got me in the door at information security. So I'm currently just started my first information security gig back in May. So I guess as a whole, my resume has been catered to what I've done like in the past, not so much like where I'm at now and where I'm going per se. So, you know, I know you guys kind of touched on this a little bit. My resume is a little bit wordy and probably a little too long because it's 2 pages. But moving forward, you know, I would like my resume to be more focused on what I'm doing now in cybersecurity, but also the skill sets that I've learned working in the IT field to help me kind of build on that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the executive summary or your value statement up at the top is perfect. Renee mentioned having the areas of expertise and the technical proficiencies later on. in IT, like I've seen them in both places. Any other comments about this section of the resume?
Yeah, let me.
Yeah.
Renee,
Hold
Naomi.
on. I want him to scroll down first.
Okay.
Keep scrolling.
Yep.
Brad. How
So
many years experience do you have?
in IT as a whole, like roughly 4. I'm going on 5.
Overall, your whole entire career.
Oh, my whole entire career. Probably 7.
Okay. Scroll down somewhere. I just want to get to the bottom of your resume.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And
So, well, I want to call out something real quick. You
Yep.
have CompTIA as a high, almost like a brand there, but then you include AWS, CCP. That seems confusing. I would separate out either the companies that your certs are associated to. That way, there's a better understanding of what certs it is.
Okay.
Just so that there's no confusion there.
Okay.
But in looking at your resume that you have, it looks like you have a little summary section for each role, and then you talk about the things that you've done. I see lots of numbers and metrics, so and keywords in there. You're using the right tense, so that's all good. But like I would ensure that you're tailoring it to the role that you want. Previously, you already highlighted that, but for example, if you're looking to grow in security, think back to those roles and what you did that was security focused as you shorten your resume or you tweak your resume for the future. Like, what about that did you learn that was security focused, so that you can highlight X number of years doing security things over your career versus what you just have as a formal security title.
Gotcha.
Do you want to scroll back up to the top? Naomi, any comments?
So interesting about the education there. There are people who would maybe be a gatekeeper and take a look at your high school education and be like, well, this guy doesn't have the college that we want, right? So I don't know, like I wish we could say like just leave your high school graduation there, like, but the reality of it is like people are going to be looking at that and just making that connection right away. Like, this guy didn't go to college, like, and there's going to be like 100 other people with the college. So it's like almost better to not put your high school information on there, even though I wish reality was different. And I'm rooting for you, Brad. I want you to like, obviously, but like, so if you have enrolled in college, that's certainly something you can put on your resume. Like if you've been accepted, you started taking classes, you don't need to have graduated. You can just put, I am currently attending, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I would do that.
Okay.
I would double down on what Naomi said. If you're in class, put a target date. So BS in cybersecurity 2023, something like that. And then remove the high school.
Okay.
And then
people will people will not necessarily assume if it's not on there, they'll have to think about it. But if it's on there, it's just like automatically, do we really want to move forward? So
yeah, it's just gatekeeping. I hate it so much.
Yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is.
Just to do a props real quick, but Western Governors University, WGU, has a really great program. They're well known in the industry, cybersecurity, and it's like pay as much as you can, like as long as it takes you, that's how much you pay or something. So like you can do it in a year and then only pay for the year.
Yeah.
So it's like a really
every 6 months.
There you go.
You pay.
And I know people who've gotten their master's degrees in like 8 months or whatever, and all they do is pay for the 8 months.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome program.
So for those doing a program, including the type of courses that you're doing is helpful because it helps a hiring manager decide, like, is the degree you're doing providing you with additional background that might be helpful that might not otherwise be in your resume. So for those that are currently enrolled, that's something to consider. Specifically about your resume, I would think about like how many bullet points you include for something and how valuable those bullet points really add to the role that you're doing. Like adding more details just for the point of adding more details doesn't help. But if each of those bullet points potentially address a requirement on the job description that you're looking to fill, then it becomes extremely valuable. So you could have a catch-all resume that has everything included, but then a tweaked resume that you shorten down as it's tailored to the job description that you're looking to apply towards.
Okay.
Anything else, Renee, Naomi?
I would say you just got, so the new information security analyst role, well, you said this is the old resume. I mean, this is a resume before this one. So yeah, what's going to end up happening, so you're going to be putting information in there now for this the role that you're in. So two things, I would start filling that in right now, since it's still fresh, because your role will evolve, right? So the things that you did from March until now, and then as it evolves, just keep revising. But then you're going to run out of space. And I would absolutely say no to 3 pages for you, 2.5 to 3. So to Chris's point, you will have to start shaving off some of that other stuff when you put in the security analyst information, because that is going to be what's most important and will get you the next opportunity. So you'll likely, I don't know if it may end up being kind of maybe shaving off the summary sections, and just keeping like this is what I did, the bullet point parts. That could give you probably a half a page in and of itself. The summaries.
Unless like you did an amazing project and you want to highlight that in the summary section, or like you managed a really cool program or portfolio programs under your analyst role, like that could be a great paragraph narrative versus like something that you condense to a bullet point.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I want to add is like, you think about how much people really want to read. So you want to try to get, like, I would use that, Chris, like if he had some really special project, highlighting the way Craig did. So bolding it out versus writing, more lines for people to glaze over on. Because again, we're thinking about hiring managers, 50 resumes, a little bit of time. What did Naomi's point, 30 seconds, like very quick, like nobody's reading. I won't say nobody. You start to read when other things stick out. So you're skimming, and then you stop because something looks very interesting, and then you start reading. Because if you had to read 50 or 100 resumes, it's just not going to happen. So that's my only point to the comment that you made, Chris.
Okay.
Otherwise, I like this resume because I think that the detail, when Brad said this is the one that got him the role, it was probably the detail in it, that the keywords and stuff that got him. So Brad, did you apply to a job online, or did you, like, how did it work? How did you get your job?
Yeah, so it's funny, I kind of like was networking, and I went to like a third-party recruiting event kind of thing, and I got kind of a connection with some of the recruiters, and they had said, hey, there's a job opening here, I think you'd be good for it. But I actually applied for it previously, not through them. So I went through the process, and my boss was looking for somebody to kind of come in at like the bottom level and kind of grow with and mature with the department and the company. So I just kind of, it was at the right place at the right time, I guess you could say. It's kind of cliche, but after trying and trying and trying again, right? But I was able to find a true entry level security job. So
right. It was a combination of networking, but you had applied to it before.
Yeah, so I think
Didn't
networking.
get a response from that first application.
Yeah, so I got networking was huge for me, just because it helped identify, other positions, right? Because they do that every day. It's almost like a full-time job looking for jobs when you're doing it for yourself. So to have that extra set of highs
Right.
is really helpful. But that, and then just
Right.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Anything else, Naomi, Chris?
Just thanks, Brad, for being a gatebreaker with me.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. New people breaking into cybersecurity. This is it. So let's pave the way for the next generation. That's
Yeah,
you.
of
Now
course.
you're on the hook to do the same thing for someone junior or more junior than you.
Yeah, any way I can.
Awesome, man.
Very awesome. Thanks, Brad. So, a couple more people who want to join. Let's take this part off. Let's go back to just us. Okay, so I have Valerie wants hers done, and David Michi wants his LinkedIn profile review, which is good. Couple comments as we were talking here. Let's see. Paul Cummings said, 3 of my most favorite humans in the world. Sorry I'm late. Greetings from Jacksonville, Florida. Very cool. And what else? Lily Clark made a comment. Didn't consider that even execs need a concise resume. Yep, that is, that's your first step. One of the first steps. So if it's typos or long and drawn out, that's, not showing a very good first impression about what you're going to be like on the job.
That's a good point. Some people make the comparison with, I think it's Sheryl Sandberg, who was like the CEO of Yahoo or something, or whatever she was. And she only has like a one-pager, right? But
Yeah.
her entire life's work is online.
It's
so it's like
completely
really hard.
different.
It's a different situation, but the story and the lesson's still the same, where you want to have a concise resume because more of your work is already out there for finding and perusal. They should be able to find you on YouTube or whatever. And like, they can see who you are as a person and as a leader, not just through your resume. You are a fully fleshed 3D human, not just a 2-dimensional piece of paper. That's what you want, especially in the leadership roles.
Absolutely. And the thing, people have to realize, it's so funny. They compare like, for another example, they'll say like all these prominent, billionaires and stuff didn't go to college or didn't finish college. Now, I'm not going to get into the college thing because our buddy isn't here to, to fight that fight. But they were at Harvard. You know what I mean? Like they were already in college. It's not like, hey, they just didn't go. So that's another thing. And again, they were at Harvard of all places. And Sheryl, people were likely recruiting her. They already knew who she was. I mean, think about Naomi that's sitting here. She probably doesn't have to post for a job. People know you. They're like, she's probably getting, pings daily. Hey, Naomi, we have a spot. You looking?
Settle down now. Not true.
She loves her job, but that's what happens when you network and people know you and, for your industry in your space. So Sheryl, who was, what was she, COO of
Facebook or Yahoo, one of the two.
One of these companies,
you want to build
she
your
was
brand.
already an executive in a company, huge company. Her resume precedes her. Like she doesn't need a resume. That's the point.
Her resume says something like to be the best mom possible or something like that.
Right, with a picture and like a couple of words and like that's it.
She's a special case.
She doesn't need a resume. Zoe, we can totally look at your resume. Oh my God, we only have 6 minutes left. Okay, Zoe, if you want to jump on, Chris, can you get her the link? I don't know. Oh, Naomi's hopping off. Okay, bye, Naomi. All right, Chris and I will work on the last couple.
Shared the link in the comments, so they should be able to click on that.
But I think she got kicked out of LinkedIn. So
you can share on YouTube.
On YouTube, okay.
But we could do David Mace's profile. He asked earlier.
Do you want
I
to?
think.
I have it pulled up.
Yeah,
So do
I
me a
could do it.
favor. Can you? No, you can't share that. I have to
Yeah, I
share.
can.
You can share it on a link on YouTube.
Yeah. No, I could share his profile.
Oh, okay? You share his profile, but I can't copy paste the stream. Oh, I can do it back here.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna put the stream in the. Where's the stream?
Let's share his profile.
I need the StreamYard link in the private chat.
Okay.
Oh, here's my what am I talking about? Copy. Okay, we're gonna add this up to the stream.
Okay, here's David's profile. David, I have a little bit of commentary with people saying aspiring. I think if you've already put in the effort to get a Security Plus and a CISA, that you're no longer aspiring, you're already there. So don't diminish the effort that you've put into the field. I'd say remove aspiring from your headline and talk about like the role that you're aiming to get. What regards any other comments there, Renee?
I don't know if I agree with that.
Really?
Yeah, like I think that because he's not a security analyst right now, right? I don't think he is. I think
He's
he
a
is.
support specialist, but
Yeah.
wouldn't you consider yourself a professional even though you don't have that title? So if
Not
you're a
necessarily.
sourcer, would you consider yourself a recruiter?
I mean, a sourcer is a recruiter depending on the company, but if he's, if he doesn't have any security experience and that's what he's trying to be. I don't know how bad that is. I mean, I don't know if leaders look at it like when they're looking for an entry person. Now, obviously, if they're looking for a seasoned person, that's going to be different. But if you're looking for a person who's going to be in an entry level security role, I don't know that doesn't seem to bother me, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about what other people are saying.
But
Go
good
ahead.
that you have like these things up here. Positive. Anyone else on their profile, ensure that they that's the first thing that people look at with your profile. The second thing is the about you section. Looks like you have a good summary, lots of keywords for Renee to ping on when she does a search. So great tips there. Any feedback there, Renee, on the about section?
So scroll down. No, I'm sorry. I was asking to scroll down. About.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Hiding his PII.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, it's nice and meaty. Can you make it a little bit bigger, Chris? See, yeah, he's a recent college grad.
Yep. So
you have all the certifications, recent grad, core competencies. That's cool. I would flesh out why I would want to be a security analyst.
Where
I
your
think when you
passion
tell a
is.
story,
Where his passion is.
Yeah, I think more so than core competencies. Like I think that, when people put these lists together, analytical skills, attention to detail, blah, 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 blah. Again, it's almost like the skills section of a resume. For me personally, I don't even pay attention to that at all. And I think this part of your profile is too important to put these core competencies in. You can put those core competencies in for us when we're doing search strings and stuff like that, as long as it's somewhere in the at the bottom of at the bottom of the profile, that's fine. But I don't even look for I've never done a search for attention to detail, computer skills, oral communication, team skill. Like those are things that we just anticipate are going to you're gonna have. Like I'm not looking for that on a resume. So I wouldn't want to use this space, this real estate and LinkedIn with that kind of stuff. So I would get rid of all the core competencies and I would really just talk about why you're passionate about security. Like, what is it that you love about security? Why you're passionate? As you've heard us say a zillion times on here, leaders, all they talk about is how they want someone with passion and can teach everything else, all of that. So talk about why you want to be, why you would be a good asset to an organization, why you're passionate about security, what made you, want to be in security. Those are the types of things that I would put in this little section about me versus core competencies. I also would want to see any metrics. So this is a great area to put metrics. It's a great area to put that kind of stuff. And David asked, should he take off the aspiring part? Chris says
we
yes.
went back and forth.
Chris says yes, I say no. Or you could say recent cybersecurity grad, something like that,
Yeah, exactly. And maybe replace core competencies with technologies that you're proficient in and put proficient in these types of technologies, because that's what Renee's going to look for. She's going to look for the firewall technician or those things that show up on the resume. Let's scroll down to his profile.
Like Splunk, if somebody needs somebody that knows Splunk or knows AWS or knows whatever, that's what, when I say keywords, so Joshua asked what kind of keywords should he include? Whatever you're actually doing. So the actual technology that you're using. So that's that. Chris, do you have time? Because it's
we'll go quickly. Your experience section here is similar to a resume, except you don't have a maximum, right? There's no like 2 or 3 pages. So put in a lot of detail. Max out how much you can put in here, because this is what people want to see, right? This is what hits the keywords for recruiters. So instead of just saying assisted staff with, like, show how you improved it, show the types of projects that you did, and target it towards the role that you want versus the role that you did.
Right.
Yep.
I agree with that. So if any kind of, also scroll down, the substitute teacher, and then what else does he have? He has the master's. So that master's that you just got, I would start peppering in. You can create, I think there's a section in LinkedIn. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you can, and if there's not, create, a section called student or whatever, master's student. And then you can put bullets focused on some of those projects that you did while you were in school. So when you were doing the courses, put in the course, put in the project completed. One of the things I say all the time is when, especially with newbies, and I say that in, not in a very nice way, not in a mean way, especially with people trying to break in, you want to show that you have some experience. School is experience. You did something that others have not. So you want to outline that. And that will get you moved along faster because you actually do have the keywords that Josh was asking about, the keywords that say, I use Splunk. Whatever the project was in school, I did X, Y, Z, and I used this technology to do so. So that's where you want to, build out your experience.
And a little, the last thing I would do before I have to jump is a little LinkedIn hack here for your licenses and certifications that you have down here. The CompTIA, which is the gold of all of these that you have down here, is all the way at the bottom because it has an expiration date. If you pull off the expiration date, it ends up back at the top of the list because it was issued first. So you actually want the one that when you're looking at your profile that has the most value to show up top, because otherwise it gets hidden below when you don't show more. So
he has that posted all the way at the top though, right?
Yeah, he has it included, but still,
Okay. Yeah.
when like someone's scrolling down, you're likely to
Right.
miss over it. And then down here, the skills and endorsements, you can have up to 50 skills. So make sure you max it out with the types of keywords that we mentioned above of the technologies that you're going to use, because those are going to show up, and you're going to want to have your peer group to endorse you for those skills.
Right. And that's a search. That's also a search quality in LinkedIn. So if you're applying to LinkedIn jobs, when we as recruiters are posting jobs on LinkedIn, we'll click on what skills. So if we want somebody to know Splunk, and I always use Splunk and two other things, AWS and something else, those are clickable. So what LinkedIn does is if you have them click too, they'll align your resume and say, well, he has 6 out of 8 skills, or 7 out of, sometimes when you see those jobs and it's like, oh, the people have 7 out of 10 skills. That's where some of that comes from. Some of that skill development. I mean, that skills and endorsements part that Chris is talking about. So overall looks good, Dave. You could just update with a couple more things. Zoe is here. Chris, can you stay or you got to go?
No, I got to go.
Okay. Chris has to go. So it'll be me and Zoe. Zoe, you still here? Thanks, Chris. All right. I'm going to bring Zoe up. Hey, Zoe.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Always on the show. I love it. So Zoe, can you bring up, you're using your phone though, so you can't share your, you want to share your LinkedIn profile? Is that what it is?
I sent my resume to your,
Oh,
yeah, I sent it in PDF, so it'd be easier for you to open, but
okay.
we can do my LinkedIn too. They look exactly the same.
Okay, you sent it to me on LinkedIn?
Yes, ma'am. So it'd be easier for you to open.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, perfect. Yeah, let me open it up. I hope I had issues earlier with sharing my screen. That's why I couldn't share the other resume. I think it was, since I upgraded Chrome, I did something and I'm having issues with screen share in StreamYard, and so let me see if I can do it.
Oh, well, you don't have to worry about it. My LinkedIn profile and my resume look exactly the same, almost. I try to do that on purpose, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the same situation. Whatever I have. Yeah, let me see if it can share though. Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. Yeah, I'm having issues with Chrome. Zoe, I can talk through yours, or since it's 2:07 and people have been here a long time, you could be first up next week if you want to do that.
Yeah, that'll work.
Be first up next week? Okay, perfect. Because we're gonna have everybody's gonna be on next week. We're gonna have Paul's gonna be on in preparation for his conference. Naomi, Chris, and James. So everyone will be here, and then we could go through your profile and your resume and be able to pull it up, because right now I'm having issues with screen share. Okay. All
yes,
right.
ma'am.
Awesome. All right. Talk to you later. Okay, everyone. Thank you. This was good. Nick had a question for Naomi, wants to know how to set up a cybersecurity awareness program. Nick, please come back next week because Naomi will be here and James will also be here. Hopefully this was very helpful for you all. Josh was asking me, did you update your Chrome that patched to 2.0 days? I did. I don't know if that may have impacted something. Joshua, I did do the update. So anyway, folks, we will see you again next week. Take care. You have to be here next week. We're doing resumes and we're having Paul Cummings come on to talk about his career fair that's happening the following day. So be here, or as they used to say, be square. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.